Can I start? Okay. So I'm going to start my presentation, the second paper. This is the role of climate change related laws and policy for promoting climate justice in Bangladesh, a case study. Actually, I'm presenting on behalf of my team, actually, Professor Brigadier General Professor Dr. Aziz Ahmed and all that. So this is my content actually, just like before. The abstract, introduction, background, problem statement, literature review, discuss the result, empirical result, and also research questions and hypotheses, objectives, and methodology, recommendations, conclusion, and acknowledgement and references we have. So with that, I'm going to start to discuss my abstract actually. The climate change is one of the global concern nowadays due to its direct impacts on the environment and development worldwide. Bangladesh is not an exception to it, with its overpopulation, with limited natural resources, cutting hills and trees, heavy transportation, air pollution, disobedience to law and policies, etc. This country has been facing numerous problems such as sea level rising, water, health hazards, ecosystems and biodiversity loss, etc. And due to that, actually, and according to Achim Steiner, the executive director of UNEP said once with conclusive proof that humans are altering the climate of the world. So we have some extra keywords you see here. And also developing the developing countries in the process of UNFCCC negotiations have experienced great difficulty in implementing decisions and policies at the country level, along with some international organizations have been contributing much in this regard. Bangladesh is not an exception to it. In order to address above issues, there are some important and international mechanisms and initiatives, including the Kyoto Protocol, the Paris Agreement, the Vienna Convention, and Montreal Protocol, and UNFCCC 1992, and the IPCC 1988, the Copenhagen Accords 2009, and the nationally determined contributions NDC, and the climate financing for adaptation and assured technology transfer policy, and vocational education policy, net zero, etc. In Bangladesh, there are also some somewhat important acts and policies such as the Bangladesh Environment Conservation Act 1995, the Bangladesh Environment Conservation Rules 1997, and the Bangladesh Environment Conservation Rules 1997, and also the Environment Codes 2010, and Environment Policy and Action Plan 1992, and the First Act 1927, Disaster Management Act 2017, and the Brick Burning Control Act 2013, and the Brick Burning Control Rules 1987, international human rights law, along with the international soft laws and policies we have. Besides, the Constitution of Bangladesh, Article 18A, commits the state to protect and improve the environment, but unfortunately, the above initiatives are not implemented properly due to non-compliance, weak enforcement and mechanism, and also non-binding force of international treaties, convention, protocols, and also world courts such as the ICJ and ICC, etc., are not empowered to mitigate the climate changes and justice worldwide. And also some decentralization, modernization, corruption, transparency, accountability, reorganization of education system, hiring sound policymakers from the abroad, along with good coordination and empowerment of the authorities are needed to change the country. This study, however, examines the climate-related laws and policies as applied in Bangladesh based on primary and secondary sources, consisting of at least 25 respondents in the different criteria, through also online. This is my abstract actually. So I'm going to discuss a bit the introduction. The climate change is one of the global concern and issues, and it is found in the late 19th century. In Bangladesh, it is observed after the independence of Bangladesh, adapting and revising the existing laws and policies of the country. The environmental justice movement began in the United States in 1970s and 1980s to address the climate impacts. Some significant initiatives such as the International Panel on Climate Change (IPCC) was formed in 1988, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and the Rio de Janeiro 1992, and the Stockholm Conference 1972, Johannesburg Conference 2002 were made to address the climate impacts all over the world. And also Bangladesh signed all this issue. And the other one, the Robert or the UN policy coordination chief said once that some key documents will shortly be opened for signatures from all over the countries for addressing the climate impacts on this Mother Earth. Moreover, some important global actors such as the IUCN, WWF, Interoperation, and the UN Special Agency, including the UNDP, FAO, GTZ, and etc., have been working around the world in this regard. Its impacts are also very alarming to the existing mankind on this earth. Climate change has also changed all time scales throughout the Earth's history. There are also historic indications that warmer climate will greatly reduce global ice cover and sea levels prevailed until around 3 million years ago. The climate change report, namely the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, finds that the developing countries are expected to suffer the most from the negative impact of the climate changes. And also in Bangladesh, it is quite true, and the frequent occurrence of the extreme weather events such as the floods and the tropical cyclones in the country that can set back development in the country for decades. To many across the globe, Bangladesh is known as one of the most vulnerable countries due to climate changes. Some studies are also done in this regard. Most of the adverse effect of climate change will be in the form of extreme weather events, while water-related hazards such as the flood, drought, salinity, bank erosion, and also tidal bore are likely to be exacerbated, leading to large-scale damages to crops. Vulnerability and adaptation to the adverse impact of climate changes are also the most crucial concern for Bangladesh. Most of the approaches toward tackling the threats of climate changes focuses on scientific and technological aspect of the problem, ignoring the social issues. So we have also background. I'm going to discuss a bit on this issue. This mankind is very much concerned about the present state of the global environment due to many causes. From time to time, the global communities have developed some important international bodies such as the UN and its special agency to protect and develop the global societies. But unfortunately, this world has been facing numerous challenges such as global warming, sea rise, etc., due to the activities of human beings on this earth. And also once Achim Steiner, even Under Secretary General and Executive Director, said 3 years ago in 1987, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change Spot Assessment Report provided the world with conclusive proof that humans are altering the climate. So I'm not going to discuss this one, and also the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon also urges the richer nations to contribute to a multi-million dollar fund to help poorer countries cope with the global warming, which will become operational in January. I urge also government to formally sign on to the Copenhagen Accord by registering this support through the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. But also the United Nations also said that under the accord, developed countries will finance a $10 billion a year, 3 years program starting in 2012 to find developing nations project to deal with the drought, floods, and other impacts of climate changes, and also to develop clean energy. It also set a goal of mobilizing $100 billion a year by 2020 for these same purposes. So the problem statement, I'm going to discuss a bit. The governments must no longer depend on or wait for global policies to act upon climate changes. They have a legal duty of care to protect the citizens and international human rights. So climate and environmental justice is one of the global concerns nowadays due to its direct impact on the environment development. As already mentioned, Bangladesh is not exception to it, and it is one of the largest and overpopulated countries due to limited natural resources in the world that has been facing numerous environmental problems such as health hazards, ecosystem and biodiversity losses, etc., including the impacts of the climate changes. So this is one I'm not going to discuss actually, because literature review we have discussed so far many literature review on this issue, and from the literature review actually we find that a lot of comments and the issues already discussed on this issue, on climate changes, and there are so many causes we have, and there are also impact on this issue discussed in my paper. So you can see my the writings. Discussion result actually we have also already discussed our relevant laws and policies we have discussed and try to find out its loopholes actually, and also how can we overcome this situation. We have discussed all this issue through this act, and also the ministry and all the concerned authorities also we have, and they are actually doing a lot of things on climate changes in Bangladesh. And the relevant laws and policy actually we have also today we have a lot actually around we have 200 lakhs acts actually related to environmental conservation and development, ultimately leads to the climate justice in Bangladesh. So we have all this act actually we have, and also case law. We have discussed a lot of case law from here actually. This is quite the discussing on human rights and also the fundamental rights for the people due to climate justice. And also climate change is actually doing all these things. And also the role of National Human Rights Commission actually have, they are also doing all the human rights issue and climate justice issue, and also climate changes we have actually. And also the BELA, Bangladesh Environmental Law Association, they're doing a lot of things on climate justice in Bangladesh, and particularly the public interest litigation cases, they are doing a lot. So all this issue they are doing and making a significant improvement on climate justice in Bangladesh. And also this is a human rights and peace for Bangladesh. They are also doing a lot of PIL, public interest litigation cases in Bangladesh, and all this issue actually they are doing. The international framework on climate changes actually we have, and this is very important framework, and they're doing and implementing the many provisions under this act and protocol. And the Paris Agreement 2016 also they are doing, and we have a lot of works actually under these provisions the government of Bangladesh is doing for climate justice. In order to ensure climate justice in the country, we would focus on the following issues directly or indirectly at the national international level for the services of mankind like. And the study finds that waterborne diseases remain major public health problem in Bangladesh, with changes of climate factors which need to be addressed. Health professionals may need to be trained on climate change and its impacts on human health to deal with future adversity. To work for the awareness program on climate changes impacts on human health that could build resilience of the community. To improve water supply and sanitation, actually, I have many recommendations also we have. And also the concerned ministry and the department must be very much proactive in its enforcement and monitoring of its law and policies. To implement the human rights law properly, more environmental courts need to be set up in the country with more judicial independence. And also more environmental courts, the more trainings for the judicial officer and the lawyers to be given. And the government must be healthy to the environmental protection of the country compared to other jurisdiction or other countries in the world. The environmental rule of law is very much urgent to be enforced and implemented in this country. So I think, and also at the international level, also, we have also some other recommendations the government of Bangladesh is considering in this regard. And also the case study result we have some case study we have written here. Let's say the decentralized administrative bodies for Bangladesh, empowerment of the authorities are needed to perform their activities. Modernization of administrative wing is essential. Ombudsman to be introduced, and effective measures are needed The judicial independence is also necessary. So we have some case study, just I have written in my paper. Many things actually. The objectives of paper is also some specific objectives we have. This is to identify the related climate changes law, to examine the role of climate-related laws and policy as applied in Bangladesh, to find out the causes and consequences, and to suggest possible measures for addressing the above issues. And also the methodology, we have the studies based on primary and secondary sources related to climate changes related laws and policy as applied in Bangladesh. The primary sources include the relevant climate changes law and policy, and also some interview methods with structure and structure questions are applied, and focus group discussion is also made. And also the constitutional provisions will also be examined. Relevant cases are also discussed. The relevant secondary sources such as this, all these things are investigated. The study also, however, examined the present state of climate-related laws, consists of 25 respondents with some case study in the different criteria such as teachers, judges, industry paper, owner of the company, workers of the industry, and also company, etc. Enforcement are also considered. And after that, we make some recommendations to ensure the climate justice in Bangladesh, like all these things are written in my paper. You can see here. And conclusion, this last one, the Ms. Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister of India, also made it clear that the environmental crisis which is confronting the world will profoundly alter the future destiny of our planet. No one can be unaffected. So that actually, a lot of laws, actually, this is very important to implement. Actually, we have many laws in Bangladesh, but it is very important to implement all this law to be applied at the national international level. And also our judiciary, the very case laws from judiciary also need to implement all these rules and regulations by updating and revising actually our rules and regulations in our country. To some extent, it may be compared with other jurisdiction. So that actually these acknowledgement references we have, and also all these things actually. I'm not mention all these things here actually, but still I'm writing and developing my paper. And also I think with that I would like to conclude my presentation. Thank you all.